Welcome to the Podcast Lab, your go-to space for raw conversations, curious questions, and inspiring stories from around the world. Whether you're here to learn, laugh, or just listen in, this is where ideas take shape and voices come alive. Ready to dive into fresh perspectives and thought-provoking discussions? Let's get started. This is the Podcast Lab. Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
All right, so today, let's really dive deep into something I think we can all relate to, which is, that quest for productivity. Like, we all want to get things done effectively.
For sure.
But not, like burn ourselves out in the process.
Right.
And so today we're going to be tackling mindful productivity.
Interesting.
And now, before you think it's all, like incense and meditation retreats and stuff.
Right.
I assure you, it's way more practical than you might imagine.
Yeah.
We've got some really interesting research and techniques to unpack.
That's good.
That that whole like always on grind. And we're going to explore how mindfulness can actually boost your output.
I like it. So I think a lot of us, we buy into this idea that just like more work equals more results.
Right.
But, kind of the funny thing is that pushing ourselves to the max can actually backfire.
Yeah.
And it could lead to burnout.
Totally.
And ultimately just make us less efficient in the end.
Yeah.
We got to move away from that hamster wheel mentality.
Yeah. You end up feeling frantic, but not actually accomplishing much of value.
Right.
So how does this whole mindful productivity thing offer a different approach?
Well, you think of it this way. Imagine instead of, frantically trying to juggle like a dozen tasks at once.
Yeah.
You approach your work with this sense of calm, focused attention.
Okay.
It's like shifting gears from, a chaotic sprint to a smooth, efficient engine.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. And research shows that mindfulness can really help us manage our energy better.
Okay.
Make better decisions and concentrate more effectively.
Okay. I'm intrigued. But how do we actually, do this?
Yeah.
What are the tools we need for this mindful productivity toolkit?
Well, one of the simplest yet, I think, most powerful techniques is mindful breathing.
Okay.
It's really as easy as taking a few moments to just tune into your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe.
Okay.
You can try this. Inhale for a count of 4.
Okay.
Hold for 4. And exhale for 4.
Oh.
And I think you'll be amazed at how quickly this can center you.
Yeah.
Especially during a hectic day.
I can see how something that simple could help hit the reset button during a stressful moment.
Right.
But what about when you need to focus for a longer period of time?
So you've probably heard of the Pomodoro technique.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I'm familiar.
It's where you work in these focused intervals, usually 25 minutes, followed by short breaks.
Okay.
So here's where we add the mindful twist.
Okay.
Instead of reaching for your phone or checking email during those breaks, use that time for a mindful practice.
Okay.
Take a few deep breaths, maybe stretch.
Yeah.
Or even do a quick gratitude reflection.
Okay.
It's about being intentional with those breaks.
Yeah.
Turn them into these mini meditation moments that can really refresh your mind.
That's a great tweak to a classic technique. I'm always looking for ways to make those breaks more restorative.
Yeah.
But I gotta admit, sometimes I struggle with staying present, especially during meetings.
The dreaded meeting slump.
Yes.
But consider this. What if, instead of letting your mind wander during those meetings, you practiced mindful listening?
Okay.
It's about choosing to be fully present with whoever's speaking.
Okay.
Letting go of those distractions and genuinely absorbing their message.
So you're saying, really be there.
Yeah. And you might even find yourself asking more insightful questions.
Oh, interesting.
And contributing more meaningfully to the conversation.
I like that because if you're truly listening, you're going to get more out of the meeting and probably even make a better impression.
Exactly.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else can we add to this mindful productivity arsenal?
Let's talk about prioritizing tasks, but with a mindful twist.
Okay.
It's not just about creating a to-do list and then just plowing through it.
Yeah.
It's about being more selective and intentional with what you choose to focus on.
Okay.
So before you dive into your day, take a moment to ask yourself, which tasks truly align with my goals?
Right.
And which ones will have the biggest impact?
That's a really good point because sometimes we can get so caught up in the busy work that we lose sight of what actually moves the needle.
Yeah. And that's where mindfulness comes in.
Okay.
It's about taking a step back, evaluating your tasks, and choosing the ones that truly matter.
Okay.
It's a simple shift,
Yeah.
but it can make a huge difference in your focus and effectiveness.
So this is all starting to make sense.
Uh,
It's not about cramming more into our day.
Right.
It's about approaching our work with intention and clarity.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that shift in perspective can not only boost your productivity,
Yeah.
but also it can reduce stress and create a better sense of balance.
Okay, sold. But let's be real. We live in a world that's designed to distract us. So how do we actually stay focused?
It's a challenge.
When notifications are buzzing,
Right.
emails are piling up,
Yeah.
everyone wants a piece of our attention.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
But believe it or not, mindfulness can help us navigate that too.
It's okay. I'm all ears, lay it on me. How do we create that, mental fortress
Okay.
to protect our focus?
So this one might be tough, but one of the most effective strategies is turning off those pesky notifications.
Oh, man.
I know.
Little turkey.
It can feel like digital withdrawal,
Yeah.
but trust me, the liberation is worth it.
Okay.
Whether it's for specific blocks of time or during dedicated work sessions.
Yeah.
Silencing those digital distractions can dramatically improve your focus and your productivity.
So I'm starting to see a pattern here.
What's up?
It's not about deprivation.
Yeah.
It's about making conscious choices to create a more focused and supportive environment.
Exactly.
What else can we do to build that mental fortress?
Well, think about how you structure your day. Have you ever tried setting aside dedicated blocks of time for focused work?
Oh, yeah.
I call them intentional time blocks.
Intentional time blocks. Okay.
You can use a timer, an app, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
The key is to commit to those blocks
Okay.
and treat them as sacred distraction-free zones.
That sounds incredibly effective. I'm all about deep work.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, does this mean the death of multitasking?
Oh,
Because I thought juggling multiple things at once was the key to productivity.
that's a common misconception.
Oh, is it?
It turns out multitasking isn't as efficient as we like to think.
Really?
Research shows that it can actually reduce our efficiency and increase our stress
Wow.
because we're constantly shifting our attention
Oh.
and depleting our mental energy.
So you're saying that focusing on one task at a time is actually more productive?
Exactly.
Wow.
When you give your full attention to one task, you're more likely to complete it with quality and then move on to the next one with a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
So this single tasking approach
Okay.
can really help you work more efficiently and with greater clarity.
Okay. I'm willing to experiment with that.
Yeah.
But even when we're focused on one task, switching gears can be tricky.
For sure.
Any tips on making those transitions smoother?
That's a great point. Transitions are often where we lose focus and momentum.
Right.
So try practicing mindful transitions before you jump into a new task.
Yeah.
Just pause, take a breath,
Okay.
and intentionally clear your mind. You can even visualize what you want to achieve in the next task.
Okay.
It's like creating this mental buffer zone
Okay.
that allows you to approach each task with fresh energy and focus.
It's like hitting the refresh button in your mind.
Exactly.
Love it.
And finally, don't underestimate the importance of regular breaks and movement throughout your day.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping away from your desk isn't just about getting coffee.
Right.
It's about giving your brain and body a chance to reset.
Totally.
So take a short walk, stretch,
Yeah.
practice deep breathing,
Okay.
or simply step outside for some fresh air. These short breaks can have a huge impact on your energy levels and your ability to focus.
This is all making so much sense.
Yeah.
It's not about pushing ourselves to the limit.
Right.
It's about working smarter and taking care of ourselves in the process.
Exactly.
Okay.
And by incorporating these mindful practices into our workday,
Yeah.
we can unlock a whole new level of productivity and well-being.
This has been such a great deep dive already. So many practical insights to implement.
I'm glad.
But before we move on, I want to make sure we connect all of this back to our listener.
Okay.
What's the core message here?
I think the key takeaway is that mindful productivity isn't about doing more.
Okay.
It's about doing things differently.
Okay.
It's about quality over quantity, intention over autopilot, and being present instead of constantly distracted.
It's like choosing to be the captain of your ship
Yes,
instead of being tossed around by the waves.
exactly.
Yeah.
And by incorporating even a few of these techniques, you can achieve more stress, less, and create a more balanced and fulfilling work life.
Love it.
Awesome.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and explore even more strategies for boosting our productivity and well-being.
Sounds good. So, it's amazing how these seemingly small shifts in how we approach our work can have such a big impact on our productivity.
Yeah, for sure.
And building on that idea,
Okay.
I think it's time we talk about the power of setting intentions.
Intentions.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that like setting goals but with a mindful twist?
You're on the right track.
Okay.
It's about choosing a specific quality or state of mind that you want to bring to your work.
Okay.
For example, instead of just aiming to like finish that report,
Right.
you might set an intention to approach it with like focus and calm, even if it's a challenging task.
So it's like setting the stage mentally
Yeah.
before diving into the work itself.
Right.
I can see how that can make a big difference in your overall mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips for like how to actually set these intentions?
Well, it can be as simple as taking a few moments each morning to reflect on how you want to show up for your work that day.
Okay.
Maybe jot down a few keywords in a journal
Mm-hmm.
or create a visual reminder on your desk.
Okay.
You could even try like a short visualization exercise
Oh, wow.
where you imagine yourself working with those qualities.
I love those ideas. It's like giving yourself a pep talk, but with a more mindful approach.
Yeah.
What other mindset shifts can help us boost productivity?
Let's talk about gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah. It might seem unrelated to productivity,
Okay.
but research shows that cultivating gratitude can actually boost our well-being
Okay.
and make us more effective in our work.
Interesting.
When we focus on what we're grateful for,
Mhm.
we kind of shift our perspective away from stress and negativity.
So it's about actively looking for the good even amidst challenges.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
Just take a few minutes each day to appreciate the things you have,
Okay.
whether it's your health,
Mm-hmm.
your supportive colleagues,
Yeah.
a sunny morning,
Right.
or even just the opportunity to learn and grow through your work.
I'm a big believer in the power of gratitude.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to see how it connects to productivity.
Right.
It's like a reminder that we're not just robots churning through tasks.
Right.
We're human beings with the capacity to appreciate and enjoy our work.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome.
And speaking of creating a more human-centered approach to work,
Okay.
let's talk about the importance of having a dedicated workspace.
You mean like a separate office?
Well,
Not all of us have that luxury.
it doesn't have to be fancy,
Okay.
even if it's just like the corner of your living room
Yeah.
or a designated spot at the kitchen table.
Okay.
Having a clear physical space for work can make a huge difference.
Right.
It helps signal to your brain
Yeah.
that it's time to focus and be productive.
So it's like creating a mental boundary
Yeah.
between work time and personal time,
Exactly.
even if you don't have a separate room.
Right. And this physical separation can help reduce distractions and improve your concentration.
Gotcha.
Plus, you can make that space your own,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, I'm picturing plants,
Yes.
comfy chairs, maybe even a diffuser with calming scents.
I love it.
It's about creating a space that feels inviting and inspiring.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of simple things like natural light,
Right.
a tidy desk, and even inspiring artwork.
Totally.
It's about making your workspace a place where you actually want to spend time,
Yes.
not just a place where you feel obligated to be.
This is making me want to redecorate my entire workspace.
I know,
I'm
right?
feeling inspired already.
Yeah.
So we've talked about mindset shifts
Mm-hmm.
and creating a supportive physical environment. What else can we do to cultivate a more mindful and productive work life?
This might sound counterintuitive, but let's talk about self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's often seen as like a luxury,
Okay.
something we do when we have extra time.
Right, right.
But the truth is, self-care is crucial for sustained productivity.
I'm all for self-care.
Good.
But how does it actually boost our productivity?
Yeah.
It seems like taking time for ourselves would make us less productive, not more.
Think of it this way. When we're exhausted, stressed, and running on fumes,
Yeah,
our work suffers.
right.
We make more mistakes.
Mhm.
We're less creative.
Yeah,
And we're generally less effective.
okay.
So self-care is about replenishing our energy reserves, both physically and mentally,
Right.
so we can show up for our work as our best selves.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like trying to run a car on an empty tank.
Totally.
You're not going to get very far.
You're going to break down.
Yeah, exactly.
And self-care doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming.
Oh.
It's about incorporating small acts of kindness towards yourself throughout your day.
Okay, I like that.
Think getting enough sleep,
Right?
eating nutritious foods,
Yeah,
moving your body,
okay.
spending time in nature,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with loved ones,
Right.
or even just taking a few moments to relax and recharge.
It's about treating ourselves with the same care and compassion we would offer to a good friend.
Yes.
And I love how you emphasize that it doesn't have to be grand gestures.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the smallest acts of self-care can make the biggest difference.
Absolutely. And here's the beautiful thing. When we prioritize self-care, it not only benefits our work, it benefits our overall well-being.
Right? It's a win-win.
It is.
This conversation is making me realize that mindful productivity is about so much more than just checking things off a to-do list.
I agree.
It's about creating a more holistic and sustainable way of working and living.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And as we move towards the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to introduce one last concept that's essential for creating that sustainable work life.
Okay.
And that is the power of letting go.
Letting go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued, but what exactly are we letting go of?
We're letting go of perfectionism,
Okay.
the need to control every detail,
Mm-hmm.
and the belief that we have to do it all ourselves.
So there's some tough ones to let go of.
I know, right?
But I can see how clinging to those beliefs can create so much stress
Right.
and ultimately hinder our productivity.
You're so right. Perfectionism can be paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
The need for control can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And the belief that we have to do it all can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're human, not superhuman.
So how do we start letting go of these patterns?
Yeah.
They can feel so ingrained.
It begins with awareness.
Okay.
Start paying attention to when those thoughts and beliefs are popping up.
Okay.
Notice them without judgment,
Mm-hmm.
and then gently challenge them.
Okay.
So instead of striving for perfection, aim for excellence.
Yep.
Instead of trying to control every detail, embrace flexibility and adaptability.
Right.
And instead of trying to do it all, delegate. Ask for help and set realistic boundaries.
It's about giving ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, to ask for support, and to prioritize what truly matters.
Beautifully said.
Wow.
Letting go of those limiting beliefs can free up so much mental and emotional energy
Yeah.
that you can then direct towards things that truly matter, both in your work and in your life.
This is all such valuable food for thought.
I'm glad.
I'm excited to see how our listeners apply these insights to their own lives. Welcome back. I'm really feeling inspired by all these mindful productivity strategies that we've been unpacking.
Me too.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is, from our mindset to our environment
Yeah, for sure.
to the way we approach our tasks.
It really is all about creating this more harmonious relationship
Yeah.
with our work and ourselves.
Okay.
So to kind of build on that,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time we talk about the power of simplification.
Simplification. Okay, I'm all for making things easier,
Right.
but how does that fit into the mindful productivity puzzle?
Well, think about it this way. When we simplify our lives, we're essentially clearing out the clutter, both physical and mental.
Mm-hmm.
That can drain our energy and distract us from what really matters.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
'Cause-
So are we talking about decluttering our desks, streamlining our schedules,
Yeah.
maybe even minimizing our to-do lists? What?
Exactly. And it's not just about creating a more organized environment.
Right.
It's about creating this sense of mental spaciousness.
Okay.
It's like giving your mind permission to breathe and to focus on what's essential.
That sounds incredibly liberating.
I know, right?
But I have to admit, the thought of simplifying can feel a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
Start small.
Okay.
Take a look at your workspace.
Okay.
Is it filled with things that you don't need or use?
Mm-hmm.
Could it benefit from a little bit of tidying up?
Right.
Even just clearing off your desk can make a surprising difference in your focus and mental clarity.
I'm definitely guilty of having a bit of a creative chaos situation on my desk.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think maybe it's not so creative after all.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay.
And once you've tackled your physical space,
Yeah.
take a look at your digital world.
Okay.
Are you drowning in emails, notifications, and apps?
Oh,
Unsubscribing from newsletters that you don't read?
right.
Turning off non-essential notifications? And just creating a system for organizing your files can make a huge difference in your digital well-being.
It's like a digital detox for our minds.
Totally.
And once we've decluttered our spaces, what about our schedules? How do we approach simplifying those?
That's a good question. Start by identifying your priorities and commitments.
Okay.
Are there any activities or obligations that are no longer serving you or that you could maybe delegate?
Okay.
Could you benefit from setting clearer boundaries around your time and energy?
So it's about becoming more discerning about how we spend our time,
Yeah.
making sure it aligns with what truly matters to us.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, simplifying your schedule doesn't mean becoming a hermit.
Right.
It's about creating space for the things that bring you joy and rejuvenation.
So it's not about deprivation. It's about consciously designing a life that feels balanced and fulfilling.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's it.
This is making me realize that sometimes we need to let go of things
Yeah.
to make space for what truly matters.
That's a beautiful insight.
Thank you.
And speaking of letting go,
Okay.
here's another simplification strategy that might surprise you.
Okay.
Creating routines and rituals.
Routines, I've always thought of routines as being a bit rigid.
Oh.
Kind of the opposite of mindfulness.
Interesting.
Isn't mindfulness about being spontaneous and in the moment?
That's a common misconception.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Mindful routines are about designing a flow for your day that supports your well-being and productivity. It's not about following a strict schedule blindly.
Right.
It's about creating a framework that gives your day a sense of structure and intention.
So it's like setting up a supportive scaffolding.
Yes.
That allows us to move through our day with more ease and focus.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So think about the things that help you feel grounded and energized.
Okay.
Maybe it's a morning routine that includes meditation journaling or a healthy breakfast.
Right.
Or perhaps it's an evening ritual that helps you unwind and prepare for restful sleep.
I can definitely see how having those anchors throughout the day could help create a sense of stability and calm,
Yeah,
especially in a world that often feels chaotic.
for sure. And here's the beauty of it. When you have those routines in place, your mind doesn't have to work as hard to figure out what to do next.
Right.
It's like putting your life on autopilot,
Okay.
but in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It frees up mental space to focus on what truly matters.
Exactly.
This is all starting to make so much sense. It's not about adding more to our already busy lives.
Right.
It's about stripping away the excess and creating space for what truly nourishes and fulfills us.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Simplification is about creating a life that feels aligned with your values, your energy, and your aspirations.
This has been such an illuminating deep dive. We've explored so many facets of mindful productivity,
I agree.
from practical techniques to mindset shifts to the transformative power of simplification.
Yeah. And as we wrap up this exploration,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
Remember that mindful productivity is not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey.
It's about showing up each day with intention, curiosity, and a willingness to experiment
Yes.
and find what works best for you.
And it's about being kind to yourself along the way.
Yeah.
There will be days when you feel focused and productive.
Right.
And there'll be days when you feel scattered and overwhelmed.
For sure.
That's all part of the process.
It's about embracing the ebb and flow of life and finding ways to bring more mindfulness and intention into every aspect of our work and our lives.
Beautifully said.
Well, thank you.
And on that note, I want to thank you for joining me on this deep dive into mindful productivity.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope it sparked some new ideas and inspired you to approach your work and your life with more intention, clarity, and joy.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Yeah.
Try out some of the techniques we've discussed, experiment with what resonates with you, and see how even small shifts in your approach can make a big difference.
You remember, mindful productivity is not about doing more.
Okay.
It's about being more.
That's a great motto to live by.
I think so too.
And with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive. Until next time, be well and stay mindful.
Bye.